So for this presentation right here, we're going to be covering your invisible career partner. A lot of people here have careers that you didn't know you had access to, so I want to introduce you to some of those options. So for this, I want to thank our sponsors for bringing on this event. I've been doing this for a long time now. This is probably, I don't know, my 10th or 12th presentation I've done for Product Camp. But yes, I appreciate their help so much. So let's look at forward-thinking product managers who use virtual assistants and AI tools. I'm going to show you how to claim probably up to 10 hours a week in your time, build a global reputation, pursue international roles, and then also quantify your career ROI. A lot of people here have things that you would love to accomplish, but if you have a 9 to 5, it's very difficult. That's why it's called a 5 to 9 if you're trying to build a side hustle. So for most people here, the career bottleneck is you have no time, right? You either have a full plate of work that you're working on, you're trying to get stuff done, but at the same time, you don't know how to strategically put all that together. So where I come in, I show you an option that many people don't realize you have access to. And if you do, you're probably not utilizing it to where you should be. So the other one is, if you have a virtual assistant and you have an AI tool to do that, well now data security becomes an issue. Is it trustworthy? Can I actually rely on this person to access this information that I can use in my life? Quality control. Am I going to be able to get what I really want if I just do it myself? Right? Everybody has that Superman mentality where if I just do it myself, it'll be better. Right? An opportunity cost is, well, if I spend all my time doing that, what do I miss out on? So, if you look at the ROI framework for all this stuff, plug in what your rate is per hour. Okay, what are you worth per hour? And just plug that into this equation right here. And if you think that it's still not worth it to build out these tools with what you're doing, then yeah, continue to do it. Otherwise, I would probably say you should look into building out this entire framework. And that's why I'm going to try to go through as much as I can. I hope we get through all of it. But I'm going to show you different frameworks to look at. So, it's perfect for PMs who are even at SaaS or physical product companies, transitioning to leadership global roles. For most people here, you probably look for a job on the side every now and then, right? But if you had somebody going out there looking for a role for you all around the world and picking up contract jobs, imagine the number of opportunities you would be able to bring to yourself, right? And then you'd be able to build your thought leadership. I'm going to show you a prioritized list of things you can build right away and give to a virtual assistant to get all this stuff done tomorrow. So let's look at the first case study. Somebody who works a 9 to 5, they come in, they just do their role, right? But they want to go out and they want to start speaking, but they don't know how to do that, right? So this person, they're a mid-level SaaS PM with no public presence. So they're going to get a VA to go out and research conferences using AI that aligns with their expertise. They're going to come back to you and say, hey, these are all the conferences that you qualify for. Do you want me to follow up with them? Okay? And you say, yeah, sure. I want you to draft and polish up 3 talks. If you think I can submit, go send those to the conferences and tell me who says yes. Okay? Remember, you're still doing your job. You're still doing your thing. Your second-hand person is going out and getting all this done for you. Okay? So now they come back and they say, hey, we have 4 offers. Which ones do you want to take? So now your outcome is you have 4 accepted talks in Q1, and now you have increased LinkedIn visibility. And because of that, your boss notices you for the first time. Right? So as you see below, this is the actual framework of what it looks like. You submit your task to your VA. The VA uses AI to help get all this stuff done. It goes out there, does the research, and repeats that process over and over and over until it comes back to you and says, hey, I have offers for you. And now your success, your career takes off even more. So let's keep going. So these are a few tasks that you would prioritize for VA that are high importance. One, and that is data entry organization. Hey, you probably deal with a lot of stuff at work that you wish you could just offset to somebody else. If you had your own personal assistant to be able to do that, then now you can say, hey, I need you to go do research, I need you to organize it, put this together, set everything up, I have a meeting coming up, go schedule this, go talk to this, follow up with this person, and let me know where you're done. Now they can manage your email, now they can also manage your social media posts. I can't tell you how many people on LinkedIn literally really never touch their LinkedIn anymore because they have so many doing full time. I've seen people post things that I'm like, you do know what you're posting is incorrect, right? Like, this is not right. And yet, when I call them out on it, they're just like, oh, my VA did that. I was like, you should probably check with your VA. So let's go to medium priority tasks, right? So these are the next things on the list. Booking your travel agent. If you're now getting conference roles that you're speaking at, have them book everything now, right? They know all the discounts. They know where to find the stuff. Have them work on that. If you know you're going out in 6 months to go do something, hey, I'm going out in 6 months. Get every discount you can find, book everything, and let me put it on my calendar. Now you have travel, expense tracking, you have your event planning, customer service support, all this stuff. Remember, this is just one VA. Imagine the people who have 5, 6, 7 VAs helping them. So now let's go to lower priority stuff. So transcription services. This is super important because a lot of people don't realize a lot of the meetings that you go into, you can start transcribing them, right? And you can start putting all that together. Put out your newsletter. Hey, this is what I talked about in our meetings. This is what we're going over with. Put that into your newsletter. You can do your website updates, your LinkedIn updates. And now you can have lead generations from all the stuff that's getting produced. So from that, you can have them run certain tasks and manage subscriptions and renewals. Any questions so far?
So when you say virtual agents, are you talking about like the AI agents that can
No, because it's still a person who's using an AI tool to help the system. Right? You're still going to have communication with the person because we're still not there yet for AI agents to be able to really replace a person. So using a human interaction person right there can get all this stuff done. But they're going to be using AI to help do their work faster. Yeah. So that's a good question. So let's look at another case study. All right. So this next one right here is going from borderless career lead. All right. So most people here, you're in the US, and you have no idea what opportunities are out there. So why not have somebody go out there and find them for you? Okay. So while you're working your job, you can have somebody go in and say, hey, look, I want to look at every opportunity in the EU region. Go find me something that I'm good at in this space. So now they're going to go identify 20 companies, and they're going to put everything together, and they're going to look for roles. They're going to come back to you and say, hey, we can tailor all your resumes to each different role. Okay? And they're going to put that package together. And now they're going to come back and they're going to schedule all your calls with these interviews and get everything set up. And because of that, you land 3 interviews. You now have a London-based VP offer with 40% salary increase. All because you offset a lot of those tasks for the VA using AI. So again, the workflow on the bottom right here shows you giving the tasks. They're going to go out, find those roles. They're going to schedule everything. And because of that, you now have a better job. Any questions? So, this is the part I've noticed with a lot of people. You all have a book you want to write. You just don't have time. You all have something that you want to put out there. You just don't have time. Right? You want to sit down and want to write that book. Well, why not have your VA and your AI put that together? I know this slide is it's a lot of information, right? But the baseline is, they're going to go out, they're going to do the research. Hey, I want you to put together 5 different topics on these books that I would have written. I want you to create the outline for them. And then when you're done with everything, create the section headers, and then send me the book and I'll write it. You've already cut out almost 50% of that work that would take you probably 3 months to get to, right? Because you come home, you're tired, you have things to do. So because of that, now all of a sudden your VA can handle the research, the interview transcriptions, the chapter outlines. They're going to use AI tools to basically do editing, tone, and make sure it matches everything, right? And because most of the books we read today also have a visual component, it has to be SEO keyword optimized. Otherwise, when you're searching in Amazon, your book actually has all those keywords in it, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't rank. So because of that, here's what happened. Your AI assistant is going to go and create all your ideas, right? It's going to keep your stuff consistent. And it's going to make sure it maximizes SEO optimization. And for that, it's going to make sure that it ensures that you're published ready, so you're not plagiarizing, there's all the checks for grammar, all those issues, right? And so, if you look at the time saved, within 3 months, we'd have 80% completed. Who here on your own could take 3 months to write a book, right? So, everybody here knows they want to write a book. Everybody here wants to get stuff done. By pushing this off, this helps get something even further, right? So imagine having 2 books completed within 3 months. Imagine having 5, 6, and so on. So another case study is you have a B2B SaaS PM with no writing experience, right? So they're going to come in and they're going to object to the VA and be like, hey, I need you to transcribe all these meetings. I need you to put all this together. And they're going to use the AI to turn those into blog posts that you talked about. So now you're building out your social media content on LinkedIn and you're generating interest. So the ROI for that is what? Well, now you have a book advance because somebody found what you're doing very interesting. Nobody's writing about it, so why not put it together? So the long term is you've established yourself as a thought leadership, and now you have global offers. And for many people, that's what they're looking for. I do it here would love to travel for doing the work that you already do. So, and because of that, now you can basically go in and they can start identifying even more books for you. So now if you take that a little further, what about research papers? What about white papers? Right? These are a lot of the tasks they can start working on for you and get them done right away. So, if we go further, I found this one very interesting because manufacturing is a big issue right now for a lot of people. And in the VA space, not a lot of people know that there are very specific roles for VAs, which is called sourcing agents. And these sourcing agents have very special relationships with manufacturers all around the world. And so if you create these relationships with these people, they can go in and create an entire database for you that's custom to what you're looking for, right? So because of that, you send the task like, hey, I have a checklist of all the stuff that I work on. These are the products I do. These are the materials I'm looking for. These are the manufacturing firms I need. And they have those relationships. So they're going to compile a supplier list. And because of that, they're going to put that into a custom database. And they're going to keep that up to date. And they're going to make sure all that information there is for you. So that way you can go in and you can pull from it every now and then. Hey, I need you to go talk to this person and find out what's going on. Is there pricing issues? Is there logistics issues? What's taking place? And they can go in and keep you up to date. So because of that, your VA does supplier contact, material costs, lead time, and shipping terms. Which I can tell you right now, these people are in high demand. So because of that, they're going to use AI tools that are going to do automated data extraction, and they're going to pull from tons of databases into your data. So who here would love to know that, hey, I have a list of updated terms, prices, shipping times, everything. So let's go to the next part. So step 3, now you're going to go in, you're going to track all your shipping times, you're going to keep everything up to date with AI, which can manage your database systems for you, and help your company stay on target. So then you become a superstar because you put all this together. Any questions? So because of that, you built out your entire roadmap for what you're trying to do. You're now able to build out tasks that you normally would have never been able to tackle. You've been able to write your books, you've been able to get more job offers. You're now able to find opportunities around the world that you had no idea existed because these people are in places that you're not familiar with, but they know the culture, they know the place. So if you want to expand your mark in Europe, get somebody in Europe, right? They know the culture, they know the place. If you want to expand out in India, they know the place as well. But again, many people don't think like that. Many people think only in terms of where they're at. So now they can do all kinds of work for you. So having a 15-minute talk with your VA every week and say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish this coming week, they can help set that up. So it's not about working harder in your job, it's about working smarter, which gets you to the next step. So if you want to continue the journey, you can join me every Monday, 4th Monday of the month. I run these programs here in downtown Austin. I know my time is coming up already, but I always want to leave time for a Q&A. And with that, this is how you can keep in touch with me. This is my LinkedIn, that's my email. So I'm open to questions if you have any.
Are there particular virtual assistants you recommend working with?
I mean, the most common ones you hear is like in the Philippines, right? Philippines, India, Eastern Europe, places like that. But again, it depends on what you're looking for, right? If you're trying to find somebody who's going to write all your books for you, you're probably better off finding somebody over in Eastern Europe who's going to be able to get a lot of that stuff done for you. But again, what I always say is find the person who's going to match what industry you're really looking for, you know? Because they have relationships with publishers all around the world. If the people in New York City are not answering the phone, find somebody that will, and your VA can do that. Yes. There. Yes.
Me. Yeah, so I've run several companies with VAs.
Yep.
And from my experience, I've had to pivot in every single one of them, is the priority stuff that you gave, I would flip it. And the reason is that the more high priority is, the more it requires my personal unique thinking. And the lower priority stuff is actually the stuff that's easier to get off my plate and to give to them. And so one of the things, so I run a company that helps people find jobs.
Yep.
And we're successful at that, everyone. Mm-hmm. But what I found is we're more successful is if we make the client do the work. I mean, we tell them how to do it, we give them the tools, we still have a VA and all this stuff, but the lion's share of the work goes back to the client because there's a secret, something in that person's head that we can't learn.
Right.
And so we're working on that, but there's right now there's something we can't get that is vital for them to utilize.
Sure. Yeah.
And so one of the things I would say is when getting a VA, like understand what requires your secret sauce in your head, and don't think someone can replace that.
Right. And, and I always tell people, like, your VA is just an extension of you. They're going to help you. They're not going to replace you, right? They're your assistant. The reason why if you look on YouTube, like, hey, this is why a VA didn't work for me. Well, it's probably because they didn't explain all that stuff. They just probably thought, like, hey, it says you're amazing at social media. I gave you a task and you failed at it. Well, they need instructions. They need help. They need assistance, right? They need to know exactly what their role is. They're not Superman, So you start off simple. You start off with simple stuff, and then you build that relationship over time. As you build that relationship, guess what? Now you have a routine. Now you're in sync together. They know what you're looking for, right? Just like if you were to hire somebody in person, they're going to eventually get to know you, right? So that's a great point because again, not everybody here is going to have the same type of relationship. You're going to look for something different. Some person here may be like, I only want research papers, right? That VA is going to be very different from a general VA, right? Versus a VA who does only grant writing for nonprofits, right? Your role and what you're looking for will change dramatically. Yes.
Is there a way to vet, like, when you get these VAs, how do you do by referral? Like maybe if you're on like a Fiverr site, you see ratings. So what's a good way to vet the VA that you?
So what I do a lot of times is, because I've been doing this for so long, I have relationships with so many, so I'll recommend. But I will also say like, hey, let's do a test job. Let's run through and make sure they actually can do what they say. Because I can't tell you how many times people will go on these sites, they will try to do it themselves, they will get scammed, and they will come back and say this was a terrible experience. I said, well, yes, because you didn't know the red flags to look for, right? Because they know you don't know what you're doing. And as soon as they know that, they're going to keep going to stop, right? I had somebody come to me and say, you told me to get a VA, I got a VA who does software design, right? I dropped $15K and got nothing. And I said the reason why that happened was because you did it yourself, you didn't know what you were doing, and they knew you didn't know what you were doing, and so they kept going through that process, right? If you don't know that you need an app built and you don't know how to build an app, they're going to find out right away, right? So it can get a little tricky. And then because there's so many scams out there, that's why I work with people directly and say like, hey, I will show you all the red flags to look for before you get that person. Because if they say they're $3.33, no one ever posts prices like that, right? So, but yeah. And yes.
Well then, on that topic, are there any platforms you recommend to find these VAs? Marketplaces
So my recommendation is there's like people per hour, right? There's Topple, there's Upworks, there's Fiverr, there's all these places, right? Always find one that allows you to make sure that they handle payment transactions, right? If you go in there and it's just between you and that person and they say, hey, give me your PayPal, don't do that. You're just setting yourself up for problems. Because once they find out you have money, oh, guess what? They got a cousin that needs it. They got a brother that needs another job, right? Yeah, as soon as they get a hold of your PayPal, it's a nightmare. Whereas like a lot of these companies have a payment system where they can verify things. Because if they say like, hey, I want to hire you to build a website, I'm gonna put in $50 for escrow, it gets put in there, right? So now they see the money's there, and it will get released to them once they know the project's finished. Right, so you have all this background to protect you. But yes, a lot of people will go on and do these things themselves, and they'll lose money. Yeah, so yeah. Any other questions, or? Yeah, because I know a lot of people here want so many things to do, right? Like, there's probably research papers you learn in school that you probably love to go back and be like, I never submitted this to a journal, maybe I can try today, right? There's a white paper that you probably want to write, but you have no time. And a lot of these people can get that done for you. Yes?
Yeah, I've done this several times, outsourced work in the past, and it's always been more hassle than the reward. And there's a lot of things you have to think about in terms of like account security that you're giving to a remote person. The logistics don't work. Like if you're hiring locally in your market, typically the people that are specialized enough to do the task really well already have full-time work and don't want to work as a VA. And then if you go outside the US market, you're dealing with time zone differences, security issues of sending data across borders. And then if there's like a little hiccup in their workflow, it's the middle of the night for you and during their daytime process. And then what do you do in that instance? Like, are they pinging you in the middle of the night, or are they just not going to work for the rest of the session? And then the asynchronous communication gets hard. The payment thing, like you mentioned, you can go through things like Wise or Deal, which are borderless payment systems. But if you're going through Fiverr or Upwork or any of those types of things, the people that are on there are people that generally work outside the US and work skilled enough to get a job at a big company. So there is a talent gap and a lot of issues that I think people need to think about if you're going to actually hire someone through this capacity.
So one of the features that a lot of people don't realize in Upworks is that you can go in and actually assign people to manage your team for you. So you can assign them roles, tasks. So let's say you find somebody who's an HR person, right? Their job will be to hire, vet, and find those individuals. And then they can go in and make sure that their jobs are getting completed, that they're doing the work that they're supposed to do. And if they do that, then they can go get paid for it, right? And for the time difference issues, I always tell people you get a project manager on there that works in the same time zone to manage that stuff while you're asleep. Because then they can go in and manage those teams. Because a lot of people do that. Because in Upworks, they allow you to set those roles for those different people, right? Of course, that takes a long time to get there, though.
I mean, if you're just trying to be someone that wants like a side hustle person that's going to reach out to contacts for you, I mean, you're going to have to hire a manager to manage the people in the time zone. It just, unless you really have like a something that you're trying to scale up to a large system, it doesn't make a ton of sense in my opinion.
But that's to say that nobody's successful doing it, right? There's a lot of people that are successful doing this.
You can use Support Shepherd, onlinejobs.ph for the Philippines. And there's all these companies, but the outsourcing company tends to be a bigger business than the actual reward that some people get from the result of the product.
And it also goes back to how well are you documenting what it is you're trying to do. Again, like I said, if you come to a person and say, like, I need to manage social media, and you write 3 sentences of their job, don't expect a miracle.
If you're documenting it that well, though, you could probably feed it into AI and automate it, like something with Typefully.
Well, be careful now, because remember,
social media post, HubSpot does the same thing.
Absolutely, and remember, AI replaces knowledge workers. And if that's the case, then we're never going to have jobs.
I think you might be better off doing like hiring someone locally, meeting them in person, and then doing automating the workflow with a software engineer, and just paying a little bit more upfront, and then instead of having to become a manager in your free time to manage someone in another country. That, like, I've done this. The internet connectivity thing is an issue. The Philippines does not have great internet. There's like 100 things that you don't think about that you just turn into managing more processes than the rate they give you.
So I gotta take this question because we got like 30 seconds. Yes.
Yeah, so, well, well said there. So like I started building out an AI system to get people jobs a couple of years ago, realized AI doesn't do it, still doesn't do it, by the way.
Yeah.
And so that's when I went to VAs, actually built a team. And so probably what you need, and again, you can be a risk taker, you can go find individuals, or you find someone who has created a table of people that they've already vetted and trained in workflows and processes, and they're focused on that niche, right? Which is eventually what I ended up building.
Yeah.
And that expertise that, like, if someone fails or leaves or like gets hit by a bus, literally has happened.
Right.
You know, there's a replacement, but the onboarding, like, you don't deal with the onboarding and everything. like it's a system. And of course, that comes at a higher price,
Of course.
but it's much better and much more efficient. And of course, we're always working on solving that problem for everyone and specifically people.
I agree.
And Chris, you have an ecosystem of people that you've had success with.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? Like it takes a while to get to that point, right? Like it doesn't happen overnight. Don't expect like even 3 months to have success. And that's why the people on the YouTube, they post, they're like, my video was terrible, they did this. It's probably because they thought they were Superman, they did everything, right? It takes a while. Just like in person, I'm not expecting that college student to get everything I need done. Right? Like there's a lot of training involved.
Do you have a list of folks that you've had success with? Or?
Yes, I do, yeah, absolutely. And if you want, you can reach out and you can do that. But yes, it's time, so I want to make sure that everybody else is